I guess I was about 7 or 8 when we exchanged houses with my grandfather down the street. He was living alone in a 14-room house, and we were pushing the limits of our house with a growing family. It just made sense. It didn't take long after the move before his sister, my great Aunt Marie, discovered that having a 7 or 8-year-old boy across the street was rather fortuitous. And before long, I realized I was weeding her garden, planting flowers, moving flowers, fertilizing, hauling stuff here and hauling stuff there. And then it was washing windows and walls, rearranging furniture. I didn't mind. She paid well. It was a good gig for a 7 or 8-year-old. And then one day, I overheard her talking to my dad about the possibility of having me mow the lawn. I got all excited because I thought it meant I got to use the new riding lawnmower. It wasn't the case. My dad took me aside one Saturday morning and gave me a few instructions on the lawnmower and some basic maintenance stuff, and then gave me some lessons, and had me mow our lawn a few times before he let me across the street. I don't know how long I'd been mowing the lawn, but it was one of those bright Saturday afternoons. I was almost done when I looked up and there was Bill. Bill was one of the twins from down the street. He said, "We're getting ready to have a pickup football game up at the school. You want to come?" I said, "Yeah, but I got to finish the lawn." He said, "How much you got to do?" I said, "I'm almost done." "Okay, I'll wait." Well, his waiting for me meant he followed me around. Now, Bill was not the brightest bulb in the world and had an uncanny ability to get underfoot. He slowed me down tremendously. At one point, he taps me on the shoulder and says, "You missed a spot." I said, "No, those are my aunt's flowers." "No, they're weeds." And we went back and forth until finally he grabbed the lawnmower and boom. Yep, they were weeds. Well, they were weeds until my Aunt Marie came out for her daily inspection before she paid me. Her eyes got big when she reached that point in the yard and said, "What happened to my sweet Williams?" I said, "Is that what they were?" Oops. Well, oops meant I didn't get paid for mowing the lawn that day. It was a valuable lesson. But I learned a bigger lesson about gardening. It's hard sometimes to tell the flowers from the weeds, especially if you inherit a flower bed. And so I've taken to the course of action of letting them grow up a little until I'm absolutely sure, and then beginning to sort things out. Jesus tells a similar story. It's a story about a farmer who plants a field of wheat. Sometime in the night, someone comes and sows weeds among the wheat. They grow up together. His servants come to him all alarmed and said, "It looks like somebody sowed weeds in your wheat. Do you want us to pluck out the weeds?" The farmer says, "No, no, 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 no. First of all, it's almost impossible to tell the weeds from the wheat. And in so doing, plucking them up, you may also damage the root systems of the wheat, and I may lose the whole crop. Just let it be, and we'll sort things out at the harvest." Now, the gospel writers use this story to further Jesus' conversations about the end of time. Whether or not that was Jesus' intention, we don't know. We're pretty sure he told the story. I believe it also has some pretty big implications for us in living daily life and how we understand life. I don't know about you, but I've had many golden, weedy plans, made some pretty good sounding decisions, only to find out it was a patch of weeds. I thought I knew what I wanted. It looked good. Relationships, jobs, stuff. Only to find out it was a pile of weeds. And it drained the energy and the lifeblood out of me. And the reverse has also been true. There have been things I was sure were weeds. And there was no way I was going to get involved with them. I mean, one of the things I was pretty certain about early on in my ministry was that I would never work for a bishop. And I would never hold a position in the national church. People that knew that stance have often quipped lately, well, how's that working for you? And I have to say, it's working quite nicely. Because what I saw as a job of weeds, that would drain the life out of me, has actually been very life-giving. It's given me opportunities and pushed me in directions that I wouldn't have gone. It has enlivened and helped my ministry in general. Weeds or wheat? It's hard to tell. That's why the Bible offers us instruction, a way of life. And we can look at it as a field of weeds, rules, regulations, limits that suck the life out of us. Or we can see what the writers say as a field of wheat, a way of life that leads to the golden fields of wheat, that gives life, energy, hope, courage. And even with those instructions, sometimes it's hard to fathom out what does that really mean for us. That's why God gives us the gift of discernment and promises to be in the midst of that if we invite God into those decisions. He surrounds us with people to help us make those choices. Those who have walked the walk before us, those who have seen things that we have yet to see, those who recognize the good and the bad, the weeds and the wheat. In that gift of discernment, God promises grace and love and hope, that we may indeed find the field of gold, that which brings us life. And so we walk together, weeds and wheat, in the midst of the bigger fields of weeds and wheat, that we may continue to sort it out as we go. One thing I do know is never mow down your aunt's sweet williams. Don't do that and life will be better. I promise. Amen.